Hey guys, Coach Bricks here. I get asked a lot by a lot of athletes, hey, if I could work on a couple different things to improve my performance, what would it be? I said, okay, strength, speed, all that's very, very important, okay? But two areas that are missed in most programs are nervous system training and rotational movement. Now, I know people are gonna be like, you can't train the nervous. Yes, you can. I'm sorry to say you can. I've seen it happen when I work with my people that were called, pelagic, and they're not gonna be able to ever move this body part, move that body part. We work that stuff constantly, okay? So there is definitely a way to do it. It's difficult if you don't know what you're doing, and most people do not look into it as deeply as they should, but it's definitely possible to do it, all right? The other thing is rotation. Most people miss rotation. They have a couple things in there, but you need more, okay? The body is a rotational movement, okay? The body loves to rotate, even when it runs, okay? It's not stiff like this, all right? Typically, you see a lot of bodybuilders who try to sprint, and they're like this. They can't move because they're not rotational beings. All right, they try to do everything for looks. Unfortunately, that's not how the human body is. Yes, it looks great, okay, but the human body does not move like that, okay? It's rotational. It rotates constantly, okay? That's all it does. Now, granted, you don't want to overcompensate and rotate when you're running, but you still have to rotate, all right? The body has to open up, boom, closes on one side, opens up. Okay, that's just how it is. I understand we like to argue this stuff. We're not looking at how God designed us. And if you truly believe in God, then you know how he designed us. Okay? You understand that he designed us not the way that we always think it should be, because science doesn't back it. Once again, I'm not going to get into this science debate because science is most of the time wrong for a very long period of time. But God is always right. And he designed us like that, because if I had to go hunt, what I have to do? I'd have to open up and throw a spear or strike an object. Okay, look at David, all right, and Goliath. Boom, most likely that's what he did with his pan sling, and then he had to come down and strike him with his sword. All this rotational stuff is so key. So two areas that athletes have to focus on, okay? And if they're not in your program, you need to get them in your program. Is some type of nervous system, twitchy, as you guys would call it, training, you can train that, and rotational. And not just a few here and there and some Joe Schmo giving you some stuff, understand why you're doing it. The whole process has to be based on why. Okay, why am I becoming an athlete? Yes, still work on your strength, still work on your speed. I'm not saying don't work on that stuff. But there are two areas that most kids ask me, where do I need to work on? Those are two areas, all right, that I see that we lack in understanding in this field and in human beings that I've studied, try to understand, and try to look at how we were designed by God, number one, and then everything based off of that. And if we can figure those things out, you will figure out how an athlete moves much, much better, how a human being moves much better. And that's why adults tend to hurt, because they can't rotate. They're so stiff. And when they do go to the gym, what do? They get on the machines and they do all their stuff. And then they wonder why their bodies are all, it still hurts. You see it all the time. Well, first of all, they don't sprint anymore. They stop sprinting, but then they don't rotate. Major issues, major issues. They should be red flags. Start putting into your routine, especially adults as well, rotational aspects of how the human body moves. You do that, and I'm telling you, you don't have to lift 7,000 pounds. You get strong in this plate, an explosive that you can rip through, you're gonna be much better off than the guy who goes in and squats 700 pounds. It's great. Like I said, I could do that. I could deadlift 700 pounds. I could do all those things, and my body was broken. What did I miss? Rotational stuff. Never, very rare was it put in my program that I designed for myself. Interesting. I started adding that stuff in, guess what I don't have anymore? I don't have hip, back, and all these other kind of pains that I used to have. Then I started adding the nervous system stuff as I started to learn that over the last 2, 3, 4 years. Guess what? Now all of a sudden I'm quicker. My reactions are much better. Which is what? Because they start to slow down. They're much better. So reach out. You have questions, reach out. You don't have to agree with me, but let's have a discussion about it. Then why is strength in one plane always the most important thing? It's not about looks, people. That's the problem. Everybody wants a certain look. It's great that the human body can look like that. All right, like some of these bodybuilders and other guys. It's how it functions. Give me a functioning body, and I take that 10,000 times over any body that looks a certain way. Because I know a lot of guys that look incredible, and their bodies are broken. Hey, but they look good. And I know guys that, hey, they can functionally move, okay, rotate well, nervous system's working, the reactions are up there. Boom, they're not the biggest, hugest guys. They're strong, not the hugest guys. And they have very limited problems. I don't know. Reach out, guys. Be blessed.